Ohio State just came back from the gun store with some more ammunition, and they're loading up the clip to go back to back. The Buckeyes are about to go full John Wick on college football this year. Look, we get it. They are dealing with a lot of turnover. You're replacing 15 total starters from last year's national championship team. You lose 8 starters on defense, 7 on offense. You got 2 new coordinators. Brian Hartline takes over the offensive play calling, replacing Chip Kelly. Matt Patricia is your new defensive coordinator, with Jim Knowles, shocking the world, leaving for Penn State. But even with everything that Ohio State loses, this team still has enough ammo in the clip to run it back and go back to back, which we've only seen 2 programs do since 2010. Bama and Georgia. Ohio State could do the same. They recruit better than the majority of all of college football. This team doesn't need to rebuild. They simply reload. Ohio State is one of those few schools that you can actually call a football factory. When they lose talented players, they get even more. They put them on that conveyor belt. They choo-choo, 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 and boom, they're right back at it again. With what they have on offense this year, with their new offensive coordinator, Brian Hartline, I guess you can't call him new because he's been with this program for a while, but with him getting the promotion to OC, this offense can be even more explosive. I feel like they've upgraded that quarterback with Julian Sayin. He elevates the ceiling the Buckeyes have on offense. Will Howard was really good. I'm not trying to say that Julian Sayin is better than Will Howard. That's a diss on him, but I'm using it to show you how good Julian Sayin was. I was watching Ohio State spring game earlier, and I didn't have to watch the entirety of it to realize who the best quarterback of the two was. There were some folks in the comment section saying Kun Kong should win. I was like, are we watching the same game? Julian Sayin has rare accuracy and touch that you don't really see out of a lot of college quarterbacks in today's era of spread offenses, where you got guys like Steve Sarkisian and Lane Kiffin scheming guys open. Julian Sayin, when he drops back on that third step, the ball's coming out and he's throwing guys open. He leads guys open. You could see Jeremiah Smith actually win the Heisman Trophy despite how stacked Ohio State is at receiver due to Julian Sayin taking over the keys at quarterback. He has fantastic touch, great ball placement. He may not have the strongest arm in the world or be the most impressive athlete, but from a pure passer standpoint, he should be on par with what CJ Stroud was. He's just a methodical quarterback that just is going to go to work and dissect any defense that he goes up against. And the offensive line is going to improve as well. Ohio State's offensive line for pretty much all of the regular season was not that good. Plus, you lost your starting center right before the playoffs and practice as well. That should have been the dagger for Ohio State. Then the CFP rolls around, and this offensive line, it looks like they haven't missed a beat. It looks like they got no injuries. Everybody's fully healthy. I couldn't tell the difference between Ohio State's offensive line in the playoffs versus how they play in the regular season. This team as a whole just flipped the kill switch. I don't know if it was that loss to Michigan to them boys up north. It just reignited a fire in Ohio State. But this team was on demon time come playoff time. And my only question about Ohio State has nothing to do with offense. They are an offensive juggernaut. When you got this specimen at receiver and Jeremiah Smith, there's some people that already believe that Jeremiah Smith will be a wide receiver 1 if he was in the NFL right now, and I can't disagree with them. Can you? I refuse to believe that this brother is only 19 years old. You're lying to me. You straight up are. You watching a little kid dominate guys who've been playing this sport for 5-6 years. Some of this shit that we're watching Jeremiah Smith do is not human. This is an alien, people. This is an alien. You got Carnell Tate, who's going to be another first-round pick that Brown Hardline pumps out. Brandon Ennis is going to have a breakout season. CJ Donaldson, the West Virginia transfer that they got, he runs with good pad level power, very good vision, kind of gives me shades of Trey Sermon. But defensively, though, this is kind of where I have my concerns at. You know, Matt Patricia had a really storied tenure as the defensive coordinator of Bill Belichick when he was on the Patriots, won plenty of Super Bowls. He has a really prestigious resume. But his defenses weren't always that good when he was the DC in New England. He kind of runs somewhat of a soft zone kind of scheme. And I'm just wondering how that's going to work with Ohio State. Is Ryan Day going to kind of tell them, hey, man, like we don't really want none of that soft zone shit. We want to be a little bit more aggressive. We don't want to divvy away too far from what Jim Knowles was doing. Because when Jim Knowles first took over as a defensive coordinator for Ohio State, it wasn't like this defense was just good overnight. You know, he had his fair share of bumps and bruises along the way. But what I do like about Matt Patricia is that he has a lot of versatility in his scheme. Primarily, he's going to be running like a 4-2-5, but he can also change to a 4-3-3-4, so you are going to have versatility despite the amount of losses that you're going to have on the front seven, especially on the defensive line, losing the heart and soul of your team, Jack Sawyer, JTT. You still got a lot of talent on that defensive line. And it's not as if you're throwing out a bunch of guys that got no PT at all. When Ohio State was raising hell against the overrated SEC, Tennessee, and they were smoking Oregon, they had the opportunity to get some of those younger guys that are now filling in for JTT and Jack Sawyer a lot of reps. So there really shouldn't be that big of a drop-off in terms of their ability to rush the passer, their ability to stop the run. The secondary is probably the strength of this defense. David Igbinosa returns. You got Caleb Downs that, like Jeremiah Smith, is an alien in his own right. If the Matt Patricia hire backfires, I don't see it backfiring this year. Probably backfires next year when you lose guys like Igbinosa and Caleb Downs. But Matt Patricia has a lot of talent to work with on this defense. If this side of the ball struggles, it's just because he just isn't a good play caller anymore. You got Jermaine Matthews Jr., who played well in the action that he got in the CFP. He should be a breakout candidate. This defense is stacked at every level. They do need some more depth on the interior of their defensive line. That's been a huge bugaboo for them that Ryan Day has also said they're trying to work on addressing. But the floor for Ohio State is extremely high. They shouldn't have any more than 2 losses, which guarantees they're going to get a spot in the dance, and their ceiling is 12-0, which should include them finally kicking the ass of the team up north. I don't know why you can't beat this team, but there's no chance in hell, and I've been saying it for the last 3 years. I know you Michigan fans are going to get mad at me, but there is no chance in hell that Ohio State loses a 5th straight game to Michigan. There's just no way possible that's going to happen. This team is still stacked. Their toughest games, week 1, you play Texas. Salute to Ryan Day and Steve Sarkisian for having some balls to actually schedule a big-time game this early in the year. You got Illinois on the road. You're going to beat them. Illinois doesn't have the firepower to beat you. Even if they got the home field advantage, they're not going to be able to get it done. Penn State, I will die before I ever have faith that James Franklin can beat Ohio State. I don't get the hype with Penn State. Well, I understand the hype somewhat. But some people really have the audacity to believe that Penn State has a better chance winning it all than you do of going back to back. That's insanity. What has James Franklin done to deserve the benefit of a doubt? Come on, man. You're going to beat the team up north this year. You're going to beat them no matter if you play them at home, in your home territory, in the backyard, the parking lot. It doesn't matter. You are going to kick Michigan's ass this year. It's going to happen. I already have money on it happening. Look, sometimes and rivalry games, you get some streaks. Oh, okay, that's what rivalries kind of are. But Michigan just can't beat Ohio State for a fifth straight year. The science, the mathematics, I did the mathematics. There's a 99.9% chance that Ohio State beats Michigan this year. You are not going to lose 5 straight to this team. There's no chance it's going to happen. Even Michigan fans have to acknowledge that it's not going to happen. Come on, man. You mean to tell me that you're going to keep beating this team for half a decade? Come on, man. You got to lose eventually. You have to. You have to. The clip has been loaded by Ohio State to make another championship run. There have only been 2 teams to go back-to-back since 2010. Bama, Georgia, Ohio State could be in that same conversation. You're still loading on offense. You got 2 aliens in Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Smith, Julian Sayin is going to be a prolific passer in this offense. And you got a defense that, as long as Matt Patricia doesn't end up flaming out early with the amount of talent that he's coaching, you just have to be a complete novice as a play caller. I'm really high on Ohio State this year. I don't see them falling off. I see them right back in the championship mix. I would not be shocked if the Buckeyes went back-to-back this year.